Okay, I think we got that. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. All right. Yeah, sorry I've not been at the controls for the last couple of days. Still working. My God. Still working on a music project. Can you guys tell me if the sound is okay? I think it's okay. It just sounds like it's maybe kind of hot. I don't know. Anyway, so there's plenty to cover, of course. So, few items of house cleaning. I uploaded a couple of videos to YouTube and Twitter and other places over the weekend and yesterday. So if I'm not here live streaming at 9, just tune in. You know, there'll probably be a video. I'll upload a video at 9. So just letting you guys know that. Just keep, coming back, checking for content. I'm going to live stream most of the days of the week, but I do have some pressing projects that need to be completed. So it may actually kind of remove my ability to live stream every single day. Excuse me. God, good Lord. My apologies. There's a Black Bear News TikTok. Just go to TikTok and look up Black Bear News. You'll find me. As far as Octopus Files goes, I don't know if I'm going to live stream today, but there's an Octopus Files Twitter. There's an Octopus Files TikTok. There's an Octopus Files Colin. Now, Colin is going to go away. Colin is going away in April, so they're going to shut Colin down and absorb it into Rumble because they took it over. So, I don't know what we're going to do about Colin. I made, obviously my channels are going to go away on Colin. I don't know if I'm going to replace it or not. We'll see. I'm trying to get an Octopus Files account on Rockfin, and I may actually open up a Octopus Files on YouTube. I'll just have to be very selective about what I broadcast on the YouTube platform. But anyways, for anybody that is wondering about Octopus Files, it's going on. I don't know if I'm going to live stream today on Octopus Files, but I'll probably drop a video on Octopus Files at around noon. So check in there if you want, other types of just daily, news of the day and controversial events as well. All right. You have a problem finding it on Twitter? Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. I will drop the link for Octopus Files right now on all the platforms for Twitter and, well, not for TikTok. I'll drop the Twitter link. But follow me there. Generally around noon, I will be either live streaming or putting some content up on Octopus Files. So just, follow me there. And here we go. Just follow me there and check in around noon. And you can follow me at all the other platforms as well. So I'll let you know when the Rockfin Octopus Files is up or when the YouTube Octopus Files is up. Obviously, you'll know. If you subscribe or if you follow my Twitter channel, you will know all about those things. All right? All right. Sorry, that was kind of a long bit of business there. So here, I'll drop it here on the YouTube channel as well. We are live on Twitter on Black Bear News. So if you all are watching on Black Bear News on Twitter, just say hello. Give us a like, give us a retweet. Victory Gin has already done that, so thank you. All right. Yeah, so it looks like we're live. Looks like people are watching. Very good. Okay. This is a really good tweet here from Steve Austin, or he's retweeting this graph, which is great. Where are people at on the I believe in climate change scale? Are you A, B, C, D, E? Are you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm sure we all know plenty. Well, let's go through this graph because it's okay. There's concern, alarm, skepticism, and denial. A, climate change is a problem, but things are getting better, and we have other problems too. We can solve this just as we've solved our other problems. I like it. That's optimistic. B, climate change is a real challenge for society. Things are bad, but with technological innovation and smart policy, we can avoid worst-case scenarios. C, climate change poses a severe threat to humanity. We need to rebalance our political and economic priorities and double down our efforts to mitigate and adapt. D, we are running out of time to act. We need radical restructuring of our economy and ways of living to avoid worst-case scenarios. And E, we're absolutely effed now. No matter what we do, it's time to prepare for the coming collapse. Where are you guys on that scale? Where do you guys feel like you are on the scale? Are you all, is everybody an E? Is everybody, are some people C's and D's? Do we have any A's or B's here? I don't know. And then let's go to the skepticism denial grouping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, there's too much uncertainty about the impacts of anthropogenic forcing to warrant policy action on climate change. I mean, honestly, that sounds like half the papers I read. I mean, you read just an article about some kind of cataclysmic event, ice melting or the AMOC possibly slowing down or shutting down. Half those articles have a deep amount of skepticism in them. Well, we don't know yet if it's linked to climate change. Okay. Two, the human impact pales in comparison to natural forces like the sun. Economic interventions will cost way more than any impacts of climate change. 3, the climate has always changed and warming is beneficial. Stop scaring people about climate change. 4, CO2 is plant food. Governments and activists are creating false alarms so they can tax us and bring in socialism. Not socialism. And 5, George Soros and the WEF are intentionally changing the climate so they can bring in authoritarian 5G mind control and make us eat bugs. Well, this is... it's good. It's a great graph. The interesting thing is most of what I see, I guess on Twitter, there's a lot of E's and there's a lot of 5s, right? People are at the extreme end of whatever they're at. And that's unfortunate. I don't see, right? And that's kind of the way it goes. I mean, I do see some of the people in the other categories on both sides. But mostly what I see is either people that are like, all right, we're totally screwed because of climate change. And then on the other side, they're making it happen. It's the lasers and the geoengineering. If only they would stop. Because they're trying to make us, the forces into Agenda 2030. And that's all it is. Everything can be, every extreme event can be attributed to lasers and geoengineering and HARP. And if they would only just stop that, everything would be fine. I don't know. It's so weird. Maybe I think the feedback, the overdriven mic was on my end, or what I was hearing, not necessarily what I was broadcasting. And you could have a little bit of both, couldn't you? Couldn't you? I mean, okay, on the skepticism side, I would say that I am not anywhere on I'm not a 1, 2, 3, or 4 at all. But in the 5 category, I might believe a little bit of that. In fact, I actually believe there is some of that going on. As far as I obviously, this channel is about climate change, but I'm not an A, B, C, or D. With a little bit of, I reserve a little bit of hopium in the D compartment, but I don't, it's like, a big old maybe shoulder shrug. but I'm all, I'm pretty much all the way up in E there, all the way up in E. Anyways, um, let's see. We have a call. Hold on. We have a call, and I don't know where my thing is. Sealy. We've heard from Sealy before. Oh. Sealy, let's see if we can get you in here. Oh, how's it going, Sealy? No? Oh.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
I've seen the title of your room.
Uh-huh.
Where are you?
Where am I? I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, so there is because of exactly what you were saying, right? Like the heat and the rising of the temperatures, we are having an epidemic that we have never had before. I'm in Buenos Aires, and there is this disease that when I was growing up, only happened in Brazil and Paraguay, which is on the north.
Uh-huh.
And eventually it started happening on the north of the country.
Okay.
And this year it came to Buenos Aires, right? Like there is 100,000 people that are having it. Many people died.
What
It's
is
called
this?
dengue.
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 Dengue. Yeah.
I grew up in the city, right? Like it appeared a few years ago, and it was right, like little, but yeah, right now it's even the most skeptic ones are saying it's global warming, right? Like now the mosquito has the temperature that makes him survive and yeah, like procreate. So yeah, it has very bad consequences.
Yeah. And do you know anybody who's like personally who's gotten dengue?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you? Have you gotten dengue?
No, like no, it's supposed to be very very bad, right? Like people feel like
Yeah. No. It's a
it's a very painful.
it's a serious disease. Yeah.
Yeah, and the second time it has this particularity. When you get it the second time, you are very likely to get it very bad and probably died. And so yeah, and it's
Yeah, and I can imagine it would happen more in tropical. Well, it is a disease that is common to tropic and subtropical climates, right? So
exactly. Exactly. That's what, like, I remember growing up. It was something that you would worry if you go to Brazil or to Paraguay, right? Like,
mhm.
um, we I don't know if you ever saw Argentina in a map, but we are very on the south. Like
Yes,
we
yes,
are like below Australia, below
yeah,
South Africa. We are very on the south. So it wasn't a disease that happened here because of the weather. The
right,
weather wasn't hot enough for the mosquito to survive, but right now it is.
yeah.
And so the consequences are, yeah, I wanted to tell
Well,
you that.
and yeah. Thank you. Well, thanks, Celie. Thanks for calling in, and giving us that. Yeah, I mean, I think you know there's a big concern in the news, and we'll throw everybody in the five department on the graph, right? The people who are concerned about the powers that be, making up, you know, concerned about making up health scares and health threats and viruses, but there are very real, people have
They are very
people have
real.
historically died, and there have been historic pandemics, caused by actual things that are happening in nature, right? Like by ecological pressures, right? You have all kinds of
Well,
things that can
for
happen
example,
that can
here,
cause like diseases to rise, disease to rise, right?
yeah, like Ebola, for instance, right? Like it happens when you start deforestation, and so monkeys are the ones that have it. And yeah, like when they look for patient zero, when there is, because we think of pandemics right after COVID, but there is so many epidemics
Yeah.
that are, and the other ones, right? Like, well, I mentioned Ebola, but malaria is
Mhm.
something that we don't have it here. But if you go to the north, it's again something that a mosquito brings. So if the weather is good enough for a mosquito, then and the water, right? Like, and the
Yeah.
humidity, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, it's very real, and it
yeah,
makes
for sure.
sense.
For sure. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
Silly. Thanks for calling in. I'm
No,
gonna
it's
let you
okay.
go because I'm gonna cover some other news. But
Sure.
thank you so much.
I just stay hearing. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Um. Yeah, and I hear a lot of I hear people there even on some their broadcasts that I enjoy and I listen to saying saying stuff like they'll read an article about maybe permafrost melting and releasing some ancient diseases or heat being tied to the rise and other diseases. I don't think that that's far fetched. You know, you can't just whisk that away with they're making they're making this happen or they're trying to set this up as a thing that it's not. I understand the conspiratorial mindset completely, utterly and completely. I understand it, but you can't just attribute every single thing to that, and it's almost, it is somewhat, it is somewhat negligent on some levels to just be like, no, that's just a thing. It's all, everything is fake and everything. I mean, that's really not necessarily a logical way to look at the world. And it makes perfect sense, right? If it's warmer, if in a warmer world, people are going to be exposed to and be susceptible to a whole slew of bacteria, viruses, whatever, all kinds of ecological forces that we exist in a Goldilocks zone, right? We human beings are used to being in a Goldilocks zone of temperature and climate, and when that changes, your physiology doesn't necessarily immediately adapt to it, or may never adapt to it. I don't know. Anyways, this is wild. There was a feels like in Rio de Janeiro of 144 degrees in autumn. So it's not even. This isn't summertime. This is not midsummer. They're going into winter. They're heading into winter now. It's March, middle of March. And I do have an article here. Record heat index 62.3 C, which is wild. 62.3 C scorches Brazil's Rio de Janeiro. The reading is the city's highest in a decade. Heat index measures what a temperature feels like, taking into account humidity. So this is a heat index. This is not an actual temperature, right? Reading 144, which would be absolutely wild. But the actual maximum temperature was 42 on Monday. And 42, I think, is, what is that? I want to say that's like 118. Oh, no. 107. Okay. Not as high as 118. 118 is really high. But 107 is freaking hot, especially if you have some serious humidity going on, which is what they're measuring. The temperature plus the humidity and like what it actually is going to feel like. The previous heat index record, the previous record was set in November, so just a few months ago. And then they just broke that record a few months later. The previous record was 139 Fahrenheit, feels like. But remember we were covering all the massive heat waves that were going on in Brazil. Remember the whole thing about Taylor Swift was, had a show there and did a show on one of the hottest days of the summer down there. So maybe it wasn't that long ago, but yeah. And people, I feel like people, didn't they say some people died? Definitely there were a lot of heat stroke events going on there. All right. I need all the coffee today. Okay, a couple of good threads here I'm going to read. The first one, and we'll go straight for doom. Josh Ellis. I'm going to read his first post. He's referring to his own post and what people were saying. So Josh Ellis, I think he's in the UK. The most useful way to think about the future is simply imagine what you would do if the power went off and never came back on. No internet, no ATMs, almost no cell service. What would you do if that happened today with no warning or advance notice? He goes on to say, I'd immediately plug my USB charging work light into my folding solar panel for when night came. I'd get out my little folding stove and put a butane canister in it, but also I'd gather up the dry wood from trimming my hedges and put it in my barbecue. If the water was still on, I'd fill my 55-gallon barrel and add about a third of a cup of bleach to it. I would cook all my frozen food and wrap it up in plastic wrap and share what we couldn't eat with my neighbors and my cats. I'd take stock of all my dry, shelf-stable food and figure out how much we'd need every day when the cats could eat, what the cats could eat, etc. I'd count all my medications and figure out which ones I could ration safely and write down the amounts and put the list in the plastic tackle box I keep them in. He says I take a lot of pills. I'd get my tools organized in one place so I could find whatever I needed instantly. I should do this anyways. I have a full set of unpowered hand tools like bores and saws. This is, it's the unpowered tools. That's when it really comes in handy there. When you don't have no electricity. I would be good for that. Also, hardware, nails, bolts, screws, and anything I could use as material. For example, if I needed to barricade our windows for some reason, it would be a matter of a few minutes' work. Insulating against cold or heat, ditto. I would not concern myself much with weapons or any of that silly nonsense. We live in an anonymous terrace house on a B road in the London suburbs. Nobody's coming for us. And if they... This, I think, might be a little bit... he says nobody's coming for us. I don't know. It's a toss-up on this one. A lot of people think that, like, if everything goes down, it's just going to be Mad Max and people are going to be, running people over in the middle of the road and ransacking, going door to door ransacking everybody's houses. That may be true. I do feel like there are senses of community. Like on my street, I'm pretty sure all the neighbors would, after a couple of days, all the neighbors would come, would kind of band together and we would we'd be helping each other out, not would you have to worry about rogue Mad Max type elements? Sure you would, but we're way out from the city center. I'd be more concerned if I lived like in the middle of the city, but then again, if you lived in an apartment, a high-rise apartment, then you might be okay. Who knows? We're going to leave that on the maybe, maybe not. Nobody's coming for us, and if they did, my house would be trivially easy to defend against siege, as silly as it is to even say that. And yes, I've thought about this. Then I'd be as ready as I could for whatever comes next, waiting, going out to find supplies, whatever it is, not as ready as if I had an isolated, stocked-up compound in Wyoming, but better than most suburbanites in Britain. I'd feel good about my chances. There's no guarantee you could survive any unexpected disaster or chaos, All you can do is try to hedge your bets and raise your odds of making it through with the resources available to you. I've done that to my own satisfaction. I think Michelle, his wife, trusts that I'd keep us safe. So that's me. What about you? Ask yourself the simple question. If the power goes out and doesn't come back on, what would you do? When you figure that out, you're as ready as you'll ever be for climate collapse or anything else that comes your way. Anyways. So, and he goes on to discuss, a lot of people respond to this, fairly negatively. And that's okay. As people do. As people do on Twitter. No, shut up. What are you saying? Blah. I hate this. It's like, I don't know. I feel a little lonely. I post stuff on Twitter and people are like, okay, I like it. Like nobody, I don't get it too much like anger or vitriol on Twitter. Like not enough. I need a little more vitriol, guys. Come on. Anyways, he says the post seems to really upset a small number of people, which mainly suggests to me that people will get mad about anything. Sometimes the ink blot isn't a picture of your dad going out for smokes. Whoa. But some people made valid points I think are worth addressing. That was funny. Number one, a lot of people don't have these things, asshole. He says fair cop. And that's why I'm not worried about those people as much as the rest of you are. I believe it was Roman historian Tacitus who once wrote, if you ain't got nothing, you ain't got nothing to lose. And I'd right on to that. But billions of us are born into and live in a world where grids and systems handle most everything. That's just, to quote Tacitus again, a simple twist of fate. We play the hand we're dealt, and for most of the people reading this, that means regular electricity on demand. What is in our control is thinking about how to live with that certainty, just like those other billions of folks already do. Which is why I think the developed world has more to learn from the developing world than vice versa. Like what to do when the lights go out. My God, he is repeating my advice for most of the Western world. Simple advice for instead of exporting your way of life and standard of living to the rest of the globe, import the developing world or third world or global south or whatever you want to call it. I call it indigenous ways of living. Instead of exporting this standard of living out, you got to import those indigenous ways of living, which is like living with way less energy, way less stuff, way less everything. If you can do that and master that kind of stuff, like you're way ahead of everybody else. Anyways. That's probably one of the best, like prepping is great, I think. But prepping yourself is even better. Right? Prepping involves like all the stuff. Well, I've got my bunker and I've got my guns and I got, just in case all this stuff and like boxes and bags of, food and everything stacked up in the pantry. Like all that, is fine and well. But prepping yourself to actually not have any of that stuff is way better. Way better. Let's keep going. 2, I would die, you prick, because I rely on medicine, machines, HVAC to survive. This is one of his replies. Well, I'm generally sorry if I've freaked you out, and maybe you'd be better off not facing the possibility of this, but I think it's more than a possibility. I think it's a probability. Yeah, I mean, that's... Life sucks. Get a helmet, I guess. And I'm not trying to be a jerk by saying that. I'm saying that, I might need a helmet. No, that means that if you want to survive disruptions in civilizational complexity, you need to have a plan, or someone does. I recommend reaching out to your representatives in government. I don't know what that's going to do. They don't care. They're not caring. They're not tuned into it. So I'm relying on a shit ton of medications to stay alive now. Luckily, most of mine are just pills, and I get 2 months supply every time I refill. except on pain pills, so I'm better off than some and worse off than most, but that's how it is. Listen, universe is not fair. Toddlers die of effed up stuff every day, and awful people live to be 9 gazillion, marry 6 times, and build a media empire that poisons civilization. Yeah, true it is. You and I might die if things fall apart. You have to simply recognize that. But you also have to decide if you're really going to just put on some Mozart and belly flop into the sweet by and by, or if you're going to fight for yourself. Me, I'm going to fight. Maybe I'll lose, but no one ever wins. That one, ultimately, all you can do is go out like a badass. Okay. I'm telling you what's going on, but what you do is your call. But for God's sake, make a call one way or another. Don't let your fate be determined by the greed or complacency of people you'll never meet. If you want to live, make a plan. That's my whole point. I know that I cannot trust in systems not to fail when it's my life or death on the line. I'm a socialist. But I will not bet my eternity on getting good government. As Suetonius said, when the real stuff goes down, take a look around. All the weak people can be found. And that brings us to 3. If stuff happens, I guess I'll just die. Lol. Do you know that probably 75% of the people I've asked this question of answer it in the same way? Across every demographic, nationality, race, gender orientation, age, economic class, always the same. Yeah. And I've had plenty of people say that to me too. Well, I guess it's lights out then. What would you do if the power went off tomorrow and didn't come back on? I'd die. Ha 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 ha. Well, that saves me worrying about finding enough spam in the wreckage. I guess if most of you are just going to die immediately. Whew, what a load off my mind, let me tell you. Or to put it really badly, more for me than I guess. I don't know for the people that are trying to survive. There are plenty of people who that's their emergency plan is like, I think I'm going to drink a bottle of Cuervo, take a couple pills and lay down. I don't know. That's a lot of people's plan. You'd rather die than fight for yourself or the people you love. You would rather die than spend money on canned food and water and batteries instead of new clothes or a phone and a car. You don't care if the only people who survive collapse are the brutal jerks. I think you're full of it. You don't want to die. You just don't want to think about it or put any effort into it. You don't want to do what you've always done, which is follow the signs that lead you through the maze. I get it. But as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, that stuff used to work. Well, it won't work now. Better to be ready for that, to learn new stuff when it's still optional, when you still have nearly limitless access to resources you will not have when things get weird. You can spend your time watching Love Island, or you can watch YouTube videos on how to tie knots. You can go to the gym and get exercise, or you can get some lumber and learn how to build stuff with it. You can spend your money on toys or tools. Those are the choices you can make. You can invest in a phone with a better camera, or use propane-powered RV fridge for the medication you need to live. You can buy a knockoff water bottle on Temu or a soldering kit for the same price. You get my point? Those are the choices you can make, all of us can make. And every problem you foresee and solve in advance, every skill you pick up, every tool you add to your mental and emotional and literal toolbox makes your chances of surviving when the lights go out that much better. And honestly, before that point too, it'll make you happier. Imagine being the most capable version of yourself, the one who knows what to do in almost any situation, the one who can MacGyver any problem that faces them. Isn't it worth being that person no matter what the world throws at us in the next few years? All it takes is will. Not money, not strength. Just the will to learn everything you possibly can. Look, I'm a schlubby middle-aged F-up with a bad heart and messed up body. And if you ask most people who know me, I'm where they're going to go if the stuff hits the fan. Why? Because I'm capable. I can solve problems. I know lots of random stuff that comes to bear in the weirdest of times. I can make mortise and tendon joint with hand tools. I can repair things, adapt them for reuse. I pay attention more than most people. I spend my meager money on tools. I can't do a push-up anymore, and I can barely walk a lot of the time, but I'm still more likely to make it through a crisis than a lot of people because I just sit at the cafe with a roll of paracord and learn how to make hitches or make little gadgets with Raspberry Pis. You can too. You can choose what you want to spend your time doing, learning. You can ask yourself questions like, what do I do if the power goes out? And actually have practical, concrete answers to that instead of guess I'll go get eaten by worms. You really can. Anyways, I'm not going to read any more of that thread. You get the picture. All right. What's up, people? We got lots of people tuning in today. Great. It's awesome. Lots of people on Twitter are tuning in, so glad to see y'all. For reals, though. Well, let's real quick. I'm going to check and see if I've got any tips, Rockfin or otherwise, YouTube, coffees, PayPal's. Did I got any PayPal's? I don't know. Venmos, Cash Apps. Yeah, if you want to send a message with a tip, I'll gladly read it on the line or, give you a shout out. If you do tip, all that kind of good stuff. And all the ways to do that are in the description box. So if you're all wondering. Let's see. Let's see. What is we going? So Whitney Webb has another great had another really good thread too. Not about the same thing, but kind of about the commoditization of the commoditization. I can't even say that word of nature. And she's drawing attention to this. The same guy who basically invented derivatives and CMOs and profited off the junk bond palooza at Drexel Burnham Lambert in the 80s is also the father of carbon trading and markets. Please understand that modern carbon markets are junk bond debt effery on steroids. Yeah, we've talked about this before. Carbon trading, carbon taxes and carbon trading is all a bunch of, it ain't going to help. And it's just another way to financialize. I mean, it is really just a 3-card Monty of like, well, if I pollute over here, I can buy these carbon credits over here, and that'll offset my pollution over here. But those carbon credits aren't really based on anything, actually offsetting pollution. A lot of those carbon credits that people buy are really, these are just empty, hollow things that people will trade. Anyways. And personally, a carbon tax to me is not going to fix the climate. Sorry for the people that really believe in it. Well, what we need is a carbon tax. Make carbon just really expensive so people don't want to use it. Some people will afford it and other people won't be able to afford it. People are still going to, people are hanging. Anyways, carbon drives the entire, party. And people don't want to stop the party. Really don't want to stop the party. They really don't want to stop the party. So they will be, they'll pay all the carbon tax to keep the party going. And there's no actually indication that people are going to stop the party anyway. So if anything, that it just looks like another It's just another tax that's not really going to be helpful. Why not just encourage people to use less energy? Why don't they want to do that? You know, why aren't they doing that? Why isn't that never the message? I'm not really sure. Anyways, she goes on to say, they're not there to save the planet. They are there to enable a new generation of Wall Street predators to take everything you have, including natural resources and protected forests and land. They are about forcibly linking all carbon-based life to the debt-based monetary system. Yeah, that's real. They want to turn everything, absolutely everything, you, me, and the trees, into tradable, tokenized financial products. And she goes on to say, we lived in a world where I was taught that air and water were free goods. That meant they were in ample supply to carry a zero price. Air, right? Air and water. I think that's a generation gone with the wind. Turn water into a private market. Anyways, that's true, and you know we chalk that up to the to the west side, to number 5, and not E, or maybe they're both. It's a little bit of number 5. All right, friends and neighbors. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, Michelle. So I was just reading Josh Ellis's tweets, and his wife was like, "It's weird to wake up to find some dude reading my husband's tweets live." Oh, well, you know, these are good tweets. And Josh Ellis is always saying, totally random, this dude is reading my tweets a lot. It was a good post. I think it's a pretty, you know, it has some really good information in there. So thank you, Josh. That's cool. It's weird. We live in a weird, it's a tiny, small, effed up world. We're all here together. And it's kind of cool that we can do this in real time. That's cool. Well, what's up, Josh and Michelle? How are you? Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the info. Word. Let's see. Well, let's see. We're getting kind of towards the end there, guys. Hold up, William. I see you, man. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you at the end of the show. And yeah, this is a Climate Watcher. Obviously, the red is not. This is projected, you know, but this is kind of the line. You know, it's where the temperature graph starts looking like a Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin chart looking a lot like the temperature graph. Which one is it? We don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where we're headed. Unfortunately, there's nothing to stop that direction. There's nothing, technological on the horizon. There's nothing, geological on the horizon that is going to stop that from going in that direction. There's, I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. Please let me know. I would like to know about this. If anybody has some information I'm not aware of, dear God, please let me know. I think a lot of people have that feeling. And, just more scary charts and whatnot. Every day for the last 12 months, the world's sea surface temperatures have broken records. Ocean scientists are growing increasingly concerned. Baffled, dumbfounded, puzzled. Puzzled and concerned. Huge temperature anomaly, which climate change alone is unlikely to explain. What? Are you serious? Could be a bad sign for hurricane season. Climate change alone is unlikely to explain. Are they talking about the lack of sulfates in the atmosphere? Is that what they're talking about? Is that what they're saying? Every day for the last 12 months, the world's sea surface temperatures have broken records. Ocean scientists are growing increasingly concerned. It's not just an entire year of record-breaking ocean temperatures, but it's the margin it's breaking them by. It's not even close to what the previous record was, says Brian McNulty, a senior research associate at the University of Miami Rosenstiel School of Marine, Atmospheric, and Earth Science. That's what's raising the eyebrows of a lot of people. Average sea surface temperatures today are roughly 1.25 degrees Fahrenheit higher than they were from 1982 to 2011, according to the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer. It's a huge anomaly that could have significant effects on weather and ecosystems. Human-caused climate change is likely playing a role. Okay, I want to hear more. Researchers said, but is probably not the only factor. This is where I don't know, science and journalism and in just human, chutzpah. Everything just goes boing, just goes haywire, right? Because they're like, please tell me this isn't, they don't understand exponential climate change, right? Just the narrative, the public, facing narrative is like there's no such thing as exponential, like climate change. There's nothing like, we can't admit to that. We can't conceive of that. Everything is linear. Well, what's going on? It's not linear. Must be those space lasers. Researchers said, but it's probably not the only factor. Climate models predict a steady rise in sea surface temperatures, but not this quickly, and ocean surface temperatures also fluctuate and can be affected by natural climate variability. See, there you go. There's your little, you got to give some science with some skepticism in there, right? Which one is it? It's funny because if anybody was watching the beginning of the show and I showed the graph of people who accepted climate change and in denial and skepticism. Anyways, A and number one, one is skepticism or, denialism, and A is like, I believe in climate change, but we're going to figure it out, right? Like there's an overlap on both the ends of those spectrums. It's funny. So scientists just don't know precisely why sea surface temperatures have climbed so high. We just don't even know. They're not even in the realm of understanding that, like, the oceans have been absorbing all this heat for decades, right? Which is why everything has remained linear, which is why everything has remained, steady. And everybody's like, well, in the 70s, they told us the climate change was going to wreck us we had 20 years to live and we're still here. Remember the guy yesterday? The guy yesterday whose house is going to be washed away by rising, sea levels, who spent, he and his friends spent $500,000 on sand to protect their beach, and it was all washed away in one day. That's a bad day on the stock market right there. Whoops, wham, there's $500,000 gone. This same guy is saying, well, in the 70s, they told us that climate change was going to take us out by the year 2000, and we're still here. It was like, dude, bro, can I get you a drink? Bro, can we sit down and have a talk? Anyways, I pray we're having a once in a lifetime of hot sea surface temperatures. Maybe it'll go away. Sorry. I need a laugh track. Where is my laugh track? Hold on, everybody. Hold on, everybody. He says, I pray we're having a once in a lifetime. There it is. It came at the wrong moment. Yeah. All bets are off now. There's something that is so unusual, it's challenging our past expectations. If ocean temperatures continue to break records that could bleach corals, generate more intense and fast developing hurricanes, drive coastal temperatures up, and make extreme precipitation more likely, even events scientists already observed in 2023. All right, well, just to break it down really quickly for what, many scientists know, but the general public just doesn't know and can't grasp, is that the oceans have been retaining most of the heat of climate change, keeping everything stable for decades, while everybody was like, I don't know, is climate change real? I don't know. Now we're at a point where the oceans are going to throw up all that heat out in the atmosphere, and it's going to get real hot real quick. And the oceans are showing that because they're like really hot. Everything is way overheated, especially in the oceans. And they're like, what do we do? I don't know what's going on. What's really lame is that I think half of these scientists totally understand that and don't want to tell you that. And look, it's 10 o'clock. And to break it down, y'all, the conspiracy is not that it's a hoax. The conspiracy is that it's way worse than they're ever going to let you know until the very bitter end, right? When everything is falling apart. And they're like, well, shoot. We should have told you this like 30 years ago. We could have done something about it. But we kept it all hush-hush because we wanted to keep the economy going. We knew that we could never tell people that the economy was complete. That was a hoax. The economy is a hoax, right? Burning carbon for short-term gains, right? That's the ultimate derivative. The ultimate derivative bubble is wrecking the climate for short-term profit, and knowing that in the end, everything must go. It's a fire sale. All right. Hey, William, do you have a thought? I don't. How you doing, William?
Hey, Kev, quickly, Shalom may have answered the question. Is 3 p.m. when you do your octopus room, where things that...
Yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern. You want to come in there?
Yeah, why don't I do that?
Yeah, I'll get you. Oh, the thing is, though, I don't know if I'm going to do a live stream today. I'm probably going to just drop some content. So, just letting you know, because I'm working on a project right now. So, but usually noon, if you want to check in around noon, I don't know that I'm going to do a live stream today. I'm just being honest with you, but probably tomorrow.
Okay, I can do that. I mean, I can comment quickly on some of the subject matter you comment on. If not, I can just wait. You know what I want to talk about.
I know, but yeah, it's probably not the forum for it.
Time and place. Right?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, well, I think real quick though, regarding direct energy weapons, Operation Ceros, Operation Popeye, we know there's weather manipulation. We know there's harping. It's obviously a combination of everything. It's not either or. It's not, everything's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely like, no, those things don't exist. I do believe there's, obviously, everything's at play, but right. I don't know. I don't know, man. There's so many things at play, but it's hard to I think, again, to go back to the graph I was talking about at the beginning, I think you could be a combination of E and 5, right? And I am a little bit of a combination of E and 5, and that's, there's so much going on. It's hard to really dissect, everything. But, the main thing is that we do really destructive things to the planet, and that's, and in so many ways, it's not even about burning fossil fuels. It's more about, the combined, blowing up bombs, blowing things to smithereens everywhere, right? Like testing all kinds of just crazy toxic stuff, everything that we can possibly do to roll out some newfangled newfangled products for you, that's what we're going to do. So, and I don't know. It's frustrating indeed, the whole thing. But anyways, William, I got to sign off the show, but I appreciate you calling in, man.
Make one last comment real quick. It was really dumb to push all that sand up. Who does that? How about an engineered seawall? When that's constructed, actually do its job. I couldn't believe it.
I know that's so crazy, man. That was just the wildest story. And to hear the guy's comments afterwards, I was like,
yeah,
bro, you are just really not in touch with reality, and that's unfortunate. But hey.
Yeah, the contractors loved it. We'll push all the sand you want up there.
Yeah, they were like, hey, you got some more money? Because we got a lot more sand. All right.
Oh, my God. Oh,
it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, the Satan fell with 1/3 the angels to rule civilization. Everybody else is just dumbed down so much you shake your head. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Absolute insanity.
Yeah.
And those are our awakens. You're a conspiracy theorist. No, not all the conspiracy realists. It's all conspiracies happen every day. Just go in the halls of Congress.
Right. Right.
Or in the courthouses, like Lenny Bruce said. The only justice in the halls of justice is in the halls. You know what I mean? Forget about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, William. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. All right, guys. Let's see. Just checking y'all out for a second. Thanks for joining in today, guys. We'll probably do another live stream tomorrow at 9 a.m. The usual time, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's standard at the moment, or no. Daylight. Where are we on? We're on daylight now. Okay, I'm confused. Anyways, 9 a.m. Daylight Pacific daylight time. And we'll see you all tomorrow at 9. And yeah, thanks a lot. Till next time, peace.